Zack Snyder's Superman finds a replica of himself in James Gunn's iteration as fans claim it's too little, too late to validate Snyder's vision now. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more VD. However, such a radical vision of an alternate reality was ahead of its time. The grim dark reality of the world around us colored the perceptions of Superman and Batman, two heroes who are guided by the principle to never kill or be corrupted, no matter how broken or beaten down they may be. As such, the fans of DC could not comprehend such a twisted version of a gun-toting Batman who intentionally maimed, tortured, and terrorized his victims. Now that James Gunn is bringing his own version of a broken and beaten-down Superman, fans are looking back at Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill's era that began it all, before going down in flames. When Zack Snyder launched the DCU, momentum shifted within the superhero universe, which could have changed how we view films today. The rough-and-tumble world of heroes, villains, gods, and monsters threw DC for a loop, making us dig deeper into our psyche and question the laws of morality when evil knows no bounds and justice is merely an impossible dream. James Gunn's Superman walks a similar path, or at least it seems so based on what the trailer insinuates. While David Corenswet makes his way through a mob of angry people despite having flags raised in his name, a similar scene comes to mind from Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman film that made the Man of Steel feel the insidious wrath of the people that he failed to protect. One of the many aspects of Zack Snyder's Justice League, director's cut, that the director did right by was the impeccable cinematography of the film. The stellar visual of the otherworldly film was further supported by the reimagined version of Superman and Batman, represented by Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. The two films complement one another in a perfect symphony. While gods waged their war in the sky, chaos and destruction reigned on the mortals below. The dark tones of blue and gray that covered the screens made it all the more chilling when Cavill's Superman was raised upon a pedestal only to be mocked and torn down later as a false god. James Gunn's DC Revolution begins with Superman in a film that will herald the launch of an era for the studio and the comic book franchise. David Corenswet takes up the mantle from Henry Cavill as the titular Kryptonian and pretty much showers the world with hope, optimism, and kindness while also being faced with much angst and ridicule from the people around him. But while some fans are busy drawing comparisons between Zack Snyder's version of Superman and the one reimagined by James Gunn, others find it cruel that the vocal support towards Snyder's universe of heroes was missing when it was needed the most. The moments from Snyder's Justice League trilogy that made the DCU so incendiary in its totality filtered down and made their way into James Gunn's Superman. But for the fans of the controversial DCU trilogy, the validation and appreciation for Snyder's original vision is simply too little, too late. Zack Snyder's era has now passed on, and the director was more than happy to accept what fate had in store for DC. In the aftermath of the release of Superman's trailer, Snyder called for an official end to the restoration of his universe, claiming Gunn's trailer had too much sauce anyway. Zack Snyder's Justice League is streaming on Max. If the world hadn't been divided by its hatred against the Snyderverse for wanting to imagine a fictional world set in an alternate reality, perhaps the fans could have still gotten the entire 5-part DCU series as a masterful work of creative achievement. Despite a very strange and creepy presence in the comics, Netflix managed to nail one Marvel character that Kevin Feige should bring to the MCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Despite the challenges of adapting such a character, the Netflix series Jessica Jones did a fine job with a different version of the Purple Man. However, with more Netflix characters becoming MCU canon after Daredevil, Born Again, the Purple Man can't be far behind. Here is why Kevin Feige might struggle to adapt the character for the MCU. Comic books are a strange medium to adapt, especially since most of the characters tend to be over the top in nature. While Kevin Feige and the MCU have done a fine job overall in adapting a variety of comic book characters for live-action media, one creepy serial killer might prove too challenging. In the comics, the Purple Man, aka Zebediah Killgrave, is a sinister serial killer with mind control abilities. As a result, the character is strange in many ways, especially because of his unique powers and physical appearance. During an appearance at Fan Expo Cleveland, Tennant discussed his work on the Netflix series and explained why the character was so brilliantly adapted. The two things kind of shouldn't go together, and yet, the writers did it with such skill, such deftness that actually managed to talk about some very difficult subjects. Tennant made the above statement, via Cinema Blend, explaining how Killgrave was used to tell a very serious and mature story within a superhero context, despite the latter mostly being reserved for children's stories. In Jessica Jones, actor David Tennant played the role of Kevin Thompson/Kilgrave, a character based on the Purple Man from the comics. Tennant's performance received widespread critical acclaim despite his character's deviations from the source material. On his own, the Purple Man from the comics is an intriguing character whose mind control powers make him extremely creepy. However, in live action, this can make the character one note, which could be challenging when bringing him into the MCU. From the former Doctor Who star's comments, it is clear that the Netflix version of the character was brilliant because he served a story purpose and was well suited to explore the themes and subjects the series was aiming to tackle. Daredevil, Born Again had to do something similar when adapting Muse to live action for the revival of the Netflix series. As a result, simply bringing back Tennant in the role wouldn't suffice. Instead, Kevin Feige and his team must come up with a story and thematic reason for the Purple Man's appearance, which could prove difficult to nail. As Tennant explained, the Netflix version was brilliant because Kilgrave was used as a conduit for various serious themes stemming from Jessica Jones' psychological state. Hence, the character can only work if it is expanded beyond the creepy serial killer mold from the comics. Kevin Feige's recently shared that he had a conversation with Kevin for a role in the upcoming Spider-Man Studios, and fans about the possibility of joining the MCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. It was recently reported John Boyega was very excited about the premise in the upcoming film Spider-Man 4. Fans are here for it. Currently titled Spider-Man: in Chicago, New Day. The Star Wars alum revealed that he had a one-to-one conversation with Kevin Feige, and the world is waiting for the release of that film. Known for his breakout role in Star Wars, Spider-Man, has expressed interest in exploring opportunities within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and fans are buzzing with the two companies. At the recent C2E2 was indeed a big win for the world, which took place from April 11th to April 13th alongside 2025. He dropped an intriguing hint during a panel with Josh Horowitz that has everyone talking and speculating about what might come next. John Boyega recently shared that he had a conversation with Kevin Feige, who is of Asian origin and a person of color for the first time in a Spider-Man film, of joining the MCU. Mr. Negative, he mentioned that he wasn't sure which character he would want to play from the vast array of quite a while in the Marvel Universe. His fame skyrocketed when someone in the audience called out Bishop the antagonist of the 2018 was excited about the idea and up for the challenge. As the rumors and speculations go around the internet, MCU aspirations, a new rumor by notable insider at collaboration that no one has seen Marvel Studios is currently looking to cast an actor in one of the prime bringing new franchises under its umbrella. This actor Boyega's debut does not appear like a far-fetched 30 to 50 years old. Boyega's willingness to play Bishop is another hint of how the Woman King actor plans to bring his versatility and craft to the Marvel Universe. It's not like there haven't been fantastic villains given his capabilities of handling high-stakes roles. Just look at Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Who would you want to play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? With the rumor on the internet that Marvel Studios is allegedly looking to cast an actor with these specific requirements,